Well, hello everyone, we are back. It has been a little over a month since Essen SPIEL 2022, and we figured we need to get on here ASAP before all the memories fade from us, so we are here today.
Yeah, this is primarily going to be an Essen wrap-up video, but we are going to be talking about other things as well because we're also long overdue on a couple of board game tabletop tags that were tagged in like 3 months ago. So if you are interested in jumping around the video and you'd like to just kind of go to the section that you're interested in, we've included timestamps down below. But first things first, this video today is sponsored by an apparel company called The Meeps. We've actually featured a few of their products in the past, and so today we're wearing a couple of their shirts.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing a shirt that says how to draw a meatball. So if you're ever wondering that, now you know how to draw a meatball.
Sketch one, yeah. I have one that's actually based off of Things Get Dicey design. So this is Paula Deming's design from Things Get Dicey. If you're not familiar with her channel, we'll link it down below. She basically does like kind of like sketch comedy board games, and she's also a team member with us over at Watch It Play.
Yes. And so The Meeps is a US-based board game apparel company primarily. They also make accessories. They also have some products on their website that are not necessarily related to board gaming. All of their products are handmade and hand-printed, and all of their packaging is plastics-free, which is what I think is really cool.
Yeah, and they also have men's as well as women cut sizes, so, you know, there's something for everybody.
Yeah, this is actually a crop top. I don't know if you could tell, but it's a crop top, and a lot of their shirts come in a lot of different colors. So, and they also have a content creator branded merch. Just like the Things Get Dicey, and maybe, wink wink, in the future, if and when we have merch, maybe you'll see some there.
So if you'd like to check out the Meeps, there is a link down below. It is themeeps.co. This is not an affiliate link, but there is going to be a sale that is going on until, I believe, November 21st.
So thank you again to Luna over at the Meeps for sponsoring this video. All right, before we start talking about our experiences at Essen SPIEL, we were tagged in a tabletop tag challenge
on YouTube, yes.
About 3 months ago. So this is long overdue. We were actually tagged in 2 different ones. So we figured we'll do the first one today, and then we'll do the next one in a future video.
Yes.
And so if you're not familiar with the tabletop tag, I believe it was started by Jenna over at the Board Game Garden, and it's basically a series of 20 questions that we're going to answer today that basically just get to know you a little bit better, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like a forced Q&A. If that makes sense.
It's just a Q&A, but with set questions. And so we were actually tagged by at least 4 different creators. I know that there was Blackboard Gaming, Board Game Dave, Lord of the Board, and Lamp Games. And so if you have tagged us and we didn't name you, we apologize because we're doing this so late. It was hard to find.
It was hard to go back and figure out who tagged where.
Yeah.
Once the notifications are gone, they're kind of gone.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first question. But if you'd like to follow along, we've included a list of the questions in the description down below. All right, first question. Name, age, and location.
Oh.
What's your name?
I'm Naveen.
I'm Monique. We are both in Southern California.
Southern California.
Where we're based.
Age.
Age is...
Timeless.
Is that your age?
I'm timeless.
Just infinite.
Infinite. I am who?
So the thing about age is we like to play this game where we have anybody who's curious about our age, we like to have them guess. And this is something that we do in person.
Yeah.
So we won't disclose that right now because it's going to kind of ruin the fun of that game.
Sure.
I will say that one of us is 2 weeks older than the other.
Yes.
So if you'd like to try to guess who that is, please feel free.
Game for you.
And both of our birthdays are coming up within the next 4 weeks.
All right, the second question. Favorite childhood board game? And that's favorite, F-A-V-O-U-R-I-T-E. That's how you know this is coming from
one of
the Commonwealth places. Yeah.
It's so tempting to say Clue because that is my favorite board game now from when I was a child.
Looking back,
that is the question, isn't it?
So you're like, yeah, looking back now, like what was your favorite as a kid? Not like while you were a kid?
This is my favorite of the board games that were around when I was a kid.
Okay.
But when I was a kid, I really, really loved this game called The Grape Escape.
Yes. I never played it. I always wanted to.
Shout out to anybody out there who knows what I'm talking about because it's basically this board game that has clay in it.
With clay
and you
putty,
have to mold the grapes first before you play. And you construct this contraption that's kind of like Mousetrap. And I think you roll dice and the grapes are trying to get to the end. But all these traps can squish the grapes.
Yeah.
So if they ever land on a trap, then you have to squish your grape.
Yeah, that's right.
It was hilarious.
I never played that one. One that's like that for me though is the one that you mentioned. I never owned this game for as much as I liked it. I loved Mousetrap.
Oh, you did?
I did. I loved Mousetrap, but I never actually owned it. My family friends had it, cousins had it. So then for that reason, when you're a kid, like your parents are like, well, they have it.
Yeah.
So we don't need it. Yeah, exactly.
You'll just go to their house.
You'll go to their house. So, but the one I had that I owned that I played a ton was Sorry.
Okay.
So I like a little bit of take that.
Game is so mean.
Yeah, I guess.
But you don't even like take that now.
I was a child. It's different.
I guess, yeah, that's true. All right, Naveen, when did you really get into the board game hobby?
I think we've answered this probably a couple times on different like Q&As and stuff, but it was definitely probably like 2015, I want to say. 2015, it was Splendor. Playing that, one of our friends introduced it to us before we were going to go on a trip.
Yeah.
And instantly I was just hooked on it.
Yeah, he fell in love with it. I got into the hobby maybe like a few months before Naveen. I was like graduating from my master's program and I didn't have any friends in Southern California. So it was my way of making friends. I found a meetup group and they were all playing board games. And then I went to a convention by myself and Naveen followed shortly after. So that is our story in a nutshell.
The first game you purchased, also, do you still own that game?
Oh,
that's good. Yeah.
The first game that I purchased in the hobby, when I didn't even know that there was a hobby, I was in like high school. It's a game called Killer Bunnies. Shout out to anybody who knows that game too, because it's ridiculous. It's just this game of magical carrot chance. Like, it's so much take that, and you're just trying to find the magical carrot. You can collect all these things and at the end of the game still not win. But it was really, really fun. And we still own it. Oh, you have played it?
I played it with you once, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right when we got into the hobby.
I think when I met Naveen, I was like already over Killer Bunnies, and so maybe that's why Naveen's never played it. But I actually still have the bin with all of the expansions for Killer Bunnies.
This is like a makeshift bin. This is like from like a bin like place. Yeah, it's like almost like a shoebox, like one of those like lids. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so while in the hobby, definitely, I think it was Seven Wonders, I want to say. I want to say, yeah. The same friend that taught us Splendor also introduced us to Seven Wonders, and we bought that one, and that was kind of in our collection for a very long time.
Yeah.
Eventually, we moved on from it, and then somehow it came back into our collection.
Yeah, so we technically have it in this house.
But not the same copy.
Any hobbies other than board games?
Me. I do. I'm sad that I have not done this hobby in a while, but I love to play golf. I have not played it in quite some time. I do like watching sports, specifically football, and also playing sports.
Yeah, you play. I was gonna say you play basketball too, right? But you haven't been able to play too much.
Not too much lately. Yeah.
For me, my main hobby that I also have not been able to do in a while is music. We both play music,
yeah,
actually.
That one also. Yeah.
I used to sing a lot. I used to write music before I moved down to Southern California. Yeah, it's kind of sad that we don't get to do it these days, but we are going to start soon.
We want to play more, yeah. Like we go through like phases. Like we'll play for like weeks at a time, and then life happens. We go on a trip typically. That's like what happens.
Traveling.
Anytime you travel and then come back, it's like, are you playing catch up with all these things?
Yeah.
Your breakthrough game. I'm thinking this is the one that like
propelled you into the hobby.
Okay.
Jetpack. Sure. It's for you, it's probably what? Like Splendor?
It was Splendor, yeah. I kind of mentioned it earlier. Yeah.
I mean, Naveen is a tournament champion after all.
Played in one tournament, won it.
For me, it's probably the Downfall of Pompeii. I would say either Ticket to Ride or the Downfall of Pompeii.
Yeah.
Because Ticket to Ride, I think we had played first, and I thought, wow, this is fun. Yeah. And then we went to like a tabletop day at a local gaming store, and that's when I came across the Downfall of Pompeii.
Yeah, we just picked it up off the shelf, played it right there, learned it, played it right there, and
that was the first game that we brought home that we played like nonstop for 3 days.
Yeah,
we would come home from work and play the Downfall of Pompeii of all games.
Game.
Okay, Naveen, this is question number 7. A theme that always draws you in. I would love to know. What is this theme, Naveen?
This gets so much hate, but I still love trading in the Mediterranean. I don't care. I don't care.
You're going to say that.
Why is it like, I do not care that it's overdone. I always think it's very intriguing. I find it, I don't know, fascinating the different ways that you can form board games and do different things with converting this resource into that and to make money. But sometimes money is not the end game. You need to do this, this, and this. So trading in the Mediterranean, I still love it.
Yeah, they stopped making those kinds of games.
They still make them, I think, sometimes.
You think
so? Yeah.
Bring them back.
Bring them back.
For Naveen.
Me.
For me, I'd say, I mean, I'm really attracted to games that have themes that are not common. I guess a lot of people would say that. Like for me, Tricarion, like that was a huge pull for me, the fact that it was about magicians. But if I were to go with like a common theme, I'd say either dinosaurs or animals.
Animals, yeah, I could see that for you.
Yeah, I love dinosaurs and animals. Yeah. So.
All right, favorite mechanism or mechanisms?
Oh, that's hard. There's a lot. I would say probably multi-use cards.
Oh, okay.
So that's why games like Fort or Glory to Rome, I really, really love those games. And trick-taking, I really, really love trick-taking when it's actual trick-taking, because there's some games that do like trick-taking adjacent. I love trick-taking games.
Yeah, for me, I think I still like worker placement. I think I like it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty
worker placement,
across the board.
Resource management, like where it's like you have like 6 different types of resources, and these are special tiered resources, and these are like the lower tiered resources, and these convert into that, and you know, like that kind of stuff. And also that competition for spaces on a worker placement board, I think is classic.
Okay, question number 9: a mechanism you don't like or that you aren't good at.
I think take that for me, even though I said sorry. Yeah. I was a child.
What? Your childhood self would be looking at you with such curiosity.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, take that for me. Like any type of card game that's just like undo what you just did, or like like I play this, and it's like no, you don't. And it's like it's just not for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. You actually, Naveen hates take that. Anytime we play a game and there's some sort of just like no reason why, like there's just a mechanism built in that takes back something that you worked so hard for.
It has to be like a super light, quick game. I do not want that in my 45+ minute games.
Yeah,
no way.
That's fair.
No way.
I also am not the biggest fan of take that just for the sake of take that, but I also am pretty uncomfortable playing area control games. Like if the game is just area control, like this is what you are doing. It's tough. That's a tough one for me.
Like control this territory, have 3 people here by the end of the thing. Yeah, right? Hold it. They're coming for you.
Yeah, it's not the most comfortable thing for me to play.
All right, the newest game or games in your collection, and have you played it or them yet?
We do have a few. I mean, we share a collection, by the way, so we're gonna have the same answer.
One answer, yeah.
And we have received a few games in the past week, and definitely haven't played them. I think the newest one was Dompierre. That's
the most recent one. It literally came in like last night at like 7 p.m.
Yeah. As for one that we have played, I think Spicy, the card game.
That's right.
It's a card game that's kind of based off of, I don't know if you've played a card game I know in the US we call it BS when we were kids.
Stands for something, yeah.
Stands for something.
Yeah, it's a bluffing game.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Sheriff of Nottingham style kind of game, but no, like you're not putting anything in a pouch.
No, it's not.
That's
it's like
bluffing. Sorry.
It's bluffing.
Yeah.
It really is like BS, where you're basically trying to play cards in increasing numbers.
It's a shedding game. It's a card shedding game.
Yeah, and as soon as you think somebody's lying, then you call them out and they have to take all the cards. It's a play on that, but it has a spin to it that makes it really good. I actually really liked it.
Yeah, we're gonna be reviewing it in an upcoming probably Let's Talk Board Games episode. So we'll kind of save the details for that. But yeah, we both really enjoy it.
Okay, Naveen, halfway through. Question 11. What is your favorite player count?
Favorite player count?
I know you have thoughts about this.
Ooh, it depends on the game, but probably 3 players.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Probably. I mean, 4 players, it really depends on the game. Like some get like Goa, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I only want to play it at 4 players. But I think universally, 3 players.
I do think that most 4-player games play best at 3, but I enjoy having a group setting because I like talking to everybody.
Yeah, it is nice having 4 people there talking.
Yeah, or 5. If there's a 5 or 6-player game that actually plays well and quickly at those player counts, then I really enjoy playing games in a group.
All right. What is your board game pet peeve? Pet peeve.
I would have to say, since I have to read so many of them, it's when the rule book is difficult to get through, or when there are so many gaps in the rule. Just difficult rule books.
Bad rule books.
Not well written rule books is my biggest pet peeve for sure.
Mine, I think, has got to be too much symbology.
Oh,
where it's not intuitive symbology.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of games that are guilty of that.
Yeah, it's weird. Like terminology and symbology also, those can be like a thing.
That is it.
Yeah,
that is my board game pet peeve, when they rename everything.
When everything has its own terminology.
Everything has its own terminology that must fit with the universe or the theme.
Yeah,
when it's like it's such a barrier to learning the game when you could have just named it what it was, and still people can still be immersed in the theme.
Token, coin.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's berries. Like, okay, cool, but like
resource.
When it's like, or like when rounds and turn.
When rounds are turned interchanged. Yeah, I mean, it all comes to the same point when it makes things difficult to learn the game. Yeah, so that's my pet peeve.
Yeah.
Question number 13, Naveen. What player color do you use most often?
Okay, so most people who watch the channel will know that I'm most likely always red. But if orange is an option in a game, I will always try to take orange.
Yes. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So you like orange over red?
Yeah, I think you know this, right?
I didn't know that.
Oh,
I thought
okay.
it was red above all.
No.
'Cause you don't like
Red is the most like commonly I'll take it, but also I do this thing where whenever we're at a game night or something, it's like, what color do you want to be? I'm just like, I'll just take anything. But secretly I'm like, I mean, I prefer the red or the orange because like I might accidentally move your pieces midway through the game.
Naveen would do that.
Because I do that sometimes. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm normally red. So
or brown.
Or brown. I'll sometimes be brown.
Yeah, that's an option.
Yeah.
I will typically always try to be purple, and I'm guilty of moving purple pawns if I'm not the purple color. But if purple is not available, then I'll go for blue. And so if sometimes you'll see games that have like blue and pink, and so that's kind of why Naveen will play as pink and I'll play as blue, because I highly prefer playing as either blue or purple.
Okay, next question. This is very different. Okay, read the rule book or watch a how to play video.
Oh my gosh, read the rule book.
Monique is read the rule book.
10 times out of 10.
Yes.
But you're different, right?
For me, I am more of a visual learner, so typically a how to play video. Sometimes though, when it's a new game that's coming out, there is no how to play video.
Yeah,
so Monique and I have to come together, especially when there's like a working rule book where the rule book is not set in stone and there's no pictures or anything like that. In the rule book, that can become a little difficult. So we have to sometimes come together and just be like, okay, these are the pieces. I think this is how it works. And so we kind of collaborate sometimes and just try to figure out how a game plays.
Yeah. In fact, reading the rule book is pretty much the only way I can learn a game. I have a hard time being taught a game or watching the video. If I already know how to play the game and I just need to reinforce the knowledge, then I can watch a video. Okay, question 15. Naveen, what is your favorite snack to eat while playing board games?
So I don't typically eat while playing board games.
Yeah, we don't. We are not board game
very
snackers.
Rare. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll drink something like I'll have like a beer or like I don't know, something to drink.
Yeah.
But not really anything like any food.
If we were to choose something though, I would say like wrapped candy. Like if we have wrapped candy at the table, we'll typically, like if we have people come over, we'll have like chocolate in a bowl.
Like a Starburst or something like that.
Loves chocolate.
I do like chocolate, yeah. This one. Have you ever been to a board game convention? If so, which ones?
Oh my gosh, we've been to too many.
Many.
We went to a lot of them this year, which means we're probably not going to be doing that next year. But I guess we can just list the ones from this year.
Sure. Yeah.
We go to Strategicon, which is our local convention, and we pretty much never miss that.
Yeah, we try not to.
That's in Los Angeles. We went to Dice Tower West, AirCon, Gen Con. We went to Essen, and then I will be attending PAX Unplugged.
PAX Unplugged, yeah. Monique will be.
Too many conventions.
A lot, yeah.
You definitely don't need to do that. But if you can make it out to at least like a local convention and you really love board games, then I'd highly recommend that. It's really fun.
I'd love to go to BGG Con one day, but it's always like right around this Thanksgiving time, and it's really hard to travel during that time.
Yeah, plus it's like our birthdays.
Yeah.
All right, question 17. What is an unreleased game you are most looking forward to?
Ooh.
Do you know of any unreleased games?
No, I'm just gonna say the third installment of Great Western Trail because it's not out yet.
Why did you say an expansion? I know you know of at least one that's an.
The new Dune. Well, that's out, right? The Dune.
I was
Dune
thinking
one?
Ark Nova.
Oh, the Ark Nova expansion. There you go. Sold.
I answered it for you.
Yes, thank you.
For me, I would say Inventions. That's going to be the newest Vitalis Sorta game. It's unreleased, but it's been announced. When we were at Essen, we got to see the working board, and it looks awesome.
Looks like it's going to be another one.
Don't know how it's going to play yet, but it looks really beautiful.
All right, next one. What is your favorite thing about the board game hobby? For me, the games.
Okay, straight up, the games.
Yeah.
How do I answer this without sounding like corny, right? Like,
go ahead.
For me, it really is the people. I love meeting people. That's the whole reason why I got into the hobby, because I needed friends.
That's true. Yeah.
I like making friends, and I really love that board games are like the perfect icebreaker.
They are, yeah.
You've never met this person before, no idea anything about them. We play a game, and we're instantly friends. Yeah, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Unless they do something weird.
It's hard to make friends. It's hard to make friends as an adult. It's not like, when you're a kid and you just walk up to somebody and say, can we be friends? Did you ever do that? I used to do that when I was really, really little.
I guess so. I don't think I ever asked that question.
I did. That was my go-to. And then
maybe I don't even remember. Maybe I did ask that. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't do that as an adult. But with board games, you can. All right, second to last question, Naveen. Open and punch a game right when you get it, or do you wait until you play it for the first time?
We totally wait until we play it for the first time. Sometimes we'll get a game in and we don't punch it for weeks.
It's hard.
It's hard.
We're in a different position though, because we have to cover so many games on the channel that I used to love punching board games, and now I don't.
I actually don't mind it.
It takes so much time, and for me, I'm one of those people who need to look into the rule book and look at all the content
Like
of the
there's
game and make sure.
18 5 coins, there's 10, 20
I will count
coins,
them.
and it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, punch.
Yeah.
That's why if something ever goes missing in a components, it's like, no. They were all accounted for there. So
especially prototypes. So
prototypes, yeah.
It's not the easiest thing when we have like 5 of them that we have to punch. So unfortunately for us, we have to punch right when we're going to play it.
It's just whatever's next in the rotation, yeah. All right, and finally, the last question. Others you would like to see to do this tag?
Well, considering we're doing this like 3 months late, I think a majority of people who have wanted to do this have already done it.
Okay.
So I'd say anybody out there who's watching this, if you have answers to these questions that you don't mind sharing, we would love to read them.
Sure.
So all of you, we're tagging you all. Leave a comment down below and feel free to answer as many of these questions as you'd like. So there you go. Those are our answers to the questions. Thank you again to everybody who tagged us. We're sorry that this is so late, and we will work on the next tag as soon as possible. Speaking of that, by the way, we're probably going to put out the part 2 to our Q&A that's been long overdue as well. So if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to leave those in the comments down below, and we'll try to get to those in our next video. All right, let's talk about Essen SPIEL. So we are so sorry that this is late, but as soon as we got home, we were exhausted for weeks.
And we had like commitments to do like a bunch of like games that needed to be like filmed and done. So it's just like get home, drop stuff off.
Yeah.
Take a day and then like get right back to it.
Naveen was like back to work immediately.
I just took one day off. Like we arrived like late night on like a Monday. I took that Tuesday off. Back to work on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
because we were pretty much gone for like 3 weeks.
Almost 3 weeks, yeah.
So it was quite an experience. We had a great time. First of all, we met so many lovely people, and it was quite the sight that we were not actually prepared for.
Yeah.
We've been to Essen SPIEL a couple of times in the past, but because it had been so long, we weren't used to all of the sights and some of the challenges that came along with being there, right? Yeah. So first we'll talk about our experience, and then we'll probably end with the games that we had talked about on our anticipated list and the games that we brought home with us. And so, by the way, this is not going to be as in-depth, I suppose, as like, say, the one that we did at Gen Con. And one of the reasons why is because we actually didn't take as much footage as we would have liked. Part of that was because we were so tired from traveling in Europe. And the other part of that was because, like we were mentioning, it was quite an overwhelming experience.
Yeah, it's pretty crowded. So just like pulling out your phone and taking videos of like other people without their consent is also kind of like something that to us is kind of still a little strange.
But if you would like to hear about our full experience day to day, we did make a podcast that was specifically for Patreon. So we've included our link to our Patreon down below in case you'd like to listen to those.
So Essen SPIEL is one of the biggest board game conventions out there in the world. It's held in Essen, Germany. Essen is kind of like in the dead center, kind of a little bit in the north of Germany, and it's a kind of a smaller town for a big convention like this. So it's kind of surprising that it's held there.
Yeah, but they've held it there for long.
So many years.
It's home to the Spiel des Jahres, I think. It's a very, very, very well-known convention.
Yeah, and I think a lot of like designers and people in the industry also live in that area, probably because this is kind of like a central hub. So it's held typically Thursday through Sunday. This is the first time for us, though, that we actually went to the Wednesday event, which was kind of a press day.
And if you're wondering what goes on during the press day, it's basically a presentation that's fully in German, so we didn't actually attend that.
No.
Followed by there's this room that's kind of like at the bottom of the convention. If you've been to Essen SPIEL and you go into this lobby, down the stairs, there's like another hall that you have to kind of scan your ticket to get into.
There's like an escalator that goes down.
Yeah, that's like a Spiel press, almost like a gallery or a showcase. Basically, a majority of the games that they're selling in the hall are set up there, not necessarily set up to play, but they're all presented there so that you can walk around. If you're pressed, you can take photos and videos kind of away from the crowds.
Yeah, because if you're trying to like get access to some of these things, you know, there's gonna be big crowds Thursday, Friday, Saturday, also on Sunday, and so that Wednesday is kind of so you can kind of peruse and see the materials and
beforehand.
see what's there. There's typically like somebody representing the company that's going to be standing there and kind of showcasing. So if you have any questions or anything like that, you can always kind of get your answers filled there.
Now, as for the convention itself, we attended all 4 days. And we stayed actually pretty close to the main train station. And that was an experience because completely forgot what it was like riding the train to the convention every morning.
Yes, yeah.
You know, if you're used to going to like Gen Con, that's a different experience. You basically walk to the convention hall. Or if you're fortunate to have one of those connected hotels, then you literally just walk into the convention.
Yeah.
At Essen SPIEL, you have to take their public transportation mainly. And it's really, really crowded when you go into the train.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was like saying, like, or alluding to, that like Essen is like a smaller, it's a smaller major city in Germany, and so like the trains and the quantity of people that need to take this central artery down into where the Spiel is. It just cannot house that many people. So there's just trains after trains going, and they're still packed and full.
Yeah.
Where we were staying was right next to the main HBF, which is like kind of the main hub station, like the central station. And so that's where a majority of the people are getting on. And so like there's like lines to go down the escalator just to get the opportunity to stand in front of a train, and those people go in, and then they allow people to go down the escalator again. So they do a pretty good job with crowd control.
They do. They're used to it.
And you can get on pretty comfortably, but it's pretty much going to be standing room only.
Yeah, that was our first overwhelming experience. The next one was, because of all the crowds, it's hard to eat. It's hard to get a restaurant afterwards.
It is, yes.
So that was another thing that we were like, oh, we didn't plan for that. Make a reservation.
Reservations are important.
Yes, if you're going to go to Essen SPIEL in the future, make sure you make restaurant reservations. Don't be like us, who are forced to eat at 10 p.m. outside.
Yeah. The con ends at 7, and you're thinking, at 8 we'll just go get something to eat at a restaurant.
Unless it's
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
It's be very difficult to do. So just be aware of that.
Now, as for the convention itself, I believe there were 6 halls.
Yes, 6 halls.
The way that Essen is laid out is really interesting because it's a very kind of intricate map of halls. Like, if you need to go to like hall 1, you got to look at the map. There's a map above every like entrance and exit.
Yeah.
And you got to find your way to that hall. So it's quite a large convention. It's not just board games that you'll see. There are a lot of different booths for different things, usually board game adjacent things, or a lot of local European game stores will also set up there, and they'll have a lot of games for sale, usually very cheap, but primarily in German.
Right.
So Naveen likes to look through those.
I do. This time around, I didn't really get to peruse too much of like the out of print stuff. Like I picked up the last time we were there, Turn In Taxis. That was the one that I picked up while I was there.
We lugged it around Europe.
I lugged it around Europe. It was great. It's a great game. This time around, I did not get to like kind of look through and like see like what kind of like out of print little gems. I really wish I had the opportunity to, but it was just such fast pace for us, like going from booth to booth, that I just didn't have the time to kind of stop and smell the roses.
The first half of the trip, we tried to play as many games as possible. So some games that we played were games like Sansuchi, which is a Michael Kiesling game that was released a long time ago.
Didn't know that until just now.
Yeah, 2013. But they had it there, and that was the first game that we demoed.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with Michael Kiesling, you'll know that he's designed games like Azul, other kind of like abstract puzzly stuff. And this game is very much along those lines.
Yeah.
You're what are you doing again? You're building an estate.
Every player has the same deck of cards, but you're just going to shuffle them, and so what you're going to have access to is going to be different, but everybody has the exact same deck. And then what you're trying to do is you're trying to take these nobles that are lined up at the top of your player board and try to get them to move as far down into your state. How you get them to move down into your state is you play a card, which allows you to select one of the tiles that are kind of in like the market area, and then those tiles you place onto your board, and then now you can move down these nobles to try to score points.
Yeah, I think it was a solid first game for us because it was pretty good. It was quite dry and quite quiet. It's not a very social game.
Yeah, so it was very like multiplayer solitaire. The only like thing you can see is like, oh, that's an ideal tile. I have the card that can pick it up, and hopefully nobody grabs it. But other than that, like, there's not too much you can do to stop your opponents.
Yeah, that is true. So I think there's some variants also that we didn't play with, but for that demo, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good to kind of get warmed up that way. We also played Tokaido Duo, which is, of course, the duo version of Tokaido, which is very differently played. Yeah, it's not the same kind of moving along the track like you are in Tokaido. Yeah,
if you're familiar with Tokaido, the original game, you're kind of just trying to make your way through Japan.
Just picking up points along the way.
Very peaceful journey. Tokaido Duo is not like that. Everybody has the same 3 pieces. So there's like the artist, the merchant, and another character. And then there are 3 dice, and the dice represent each character. And when it's my turn, I get to roll the 3 dice. I think I choose one, you choose another, and then I get whatever's left.
Take the third, yeah.
Or now I don't remember the
I
exact.
remember, yeah.
Or like you choose one and I get the other two. All I know is if I roll the dice, I get 2 of those dice, and you get 1.
That's right. I think you might take the first 2 actually, and just leave the other player with.
No, I think the other player gets to choose.
I can't remember now. We definitely played it right at the time.
That would be so awful.
That's true, yeah. So, but basically with the die that you draft, that is who you're going to be able to manipulate based off of the results of that die. So a lot of the game is like, I could really score, but I can't leave this die for you. So, oh crap, like what am I going to do?
And all the 3 different types of pieces score differently. You have kind of like your player area set up with the 3 different scoring conditions. And I thought that it was okay. It sounded more clever than it felt.
When somebody mentioned it to us and like the mechanisms of it, I was like, I really want to play that. That sounds cool. Let's make sure we play that.
Yeah.
And then when we played it, I think we got to like the 2/3 mark of it, and we're like,
this is falling flat.
It's kind of falling flat. Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, that's just a very, very first impression of it. But yeah, that's one of the ones that we got to try. We, of course, got to demo Atiwa. But Atiwa, if you're not familiar with that game, that is Uwe Rosenberg's newest game. I think in our video going into Essen SPIEL, I had mentioned that I had no idea what kind of game this is going to be like. Is this going to be one of his lighter puzzly games, or is it supposed to be like one of his big box games?
Right.
And the answer to that is it's one of the big box games.
It's bigger, yeah.
It's bigger. I wouldn't say it's heavy per se.
It's not like on the it's not like on the far extreme.
It's not like a Feast for Odin or even Caverna. I would say it's lighter than those, but definitely meant to be a big box hero. We got to demo that, and it was an interesting experience. I highly enjoyed getting to play with the people we were playing with.
We played like a third of a game, I think.
Yeah,
technically
we played like a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's kind of, everybody has their own player board that houses all of your resources. And anytime you gain resources, you gain it from your player board. And it kind of affects your income. Anytime you have to spend it, you put it back onto your player board. But there's this mechanism of gaining bats and allowing the bats to kind of allow you to do more things. So it's engine buildy in that way.
Yeah.
And that's also why there's a big bat on the cover of the box.
Bat, yeah.
The demo that we played, though, was interesting because there is an aspect to the game that is quite punishing. And we didn't know that until we got to that point in the round.
The person demoing it basically didn't. They told us there was something in this game that they're not going to teach us. And I think they purposely, as a demo, they wanted to show the pitfalls of what this thing could be.
They didn't want to overwhelm us with all the rules,
yeah.
knowing that we weren't going to play a full game of this. So I totally understand
So they basically avoided like teaching us this pitfall portion of the game, and then allowed half of us to basically find ourselves in this situation. And then we felt the effects of it, and it was like, okay, so that's a good learning experience. Do not allow that to happen to you. So it kind of skewed my initial opinion of it, because I feel like the second round of the two rounds that we played, I was just like facing the consequences. So I didn't really see the Uwe Rosenberg ramp up that you normally see in games like Feast for Odin and like Caverna and all those things.
I think it's called Pollution.
Pollution.
And unfortunately for Naveen, like
I was the example.
He was the example.
Yeah.
It's like something that when you gain pollution, it affects your board for the rest of the game. There's no way to undo it. And so, meanwhile, like one of the other players and we both did not. We were fortunate enough to not fall into that.
To not accidentally hit pollution.
We had these bats. We were like really getting going, and we felt really good about it. And here was Naveen doing nothing.
Yeah.
And now he has all this pollution.
So the problem was, because of that, I didn't really get a feel for everything, because it's like, oh shoot, now I have to deal with this pollution. I should have probably just pretended like that pollution wasn't there and just continued.
And just kept going.
But it's hard to say,
Yeah, so we have a good feel for what the game is going to be like, but we don't have a solid opinion of it yet because we didn't even play a full game.
Round,
There's some interesting parts about it, like you still have to feed your workers in this game, but the amount that you feed is variable depending on the round, because things move.
Yeah, things change from round to round.
Yeah, things change from round to round. The worker placement spots change, and it's a different one for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to play it.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be covering it. It's just not yet, because we have to wait until it gets released in North America.
Yeah, we didn't pick it up to bring home.
And over the course of the weekend, we demoed a handful of games here and there. Like I know we definitely demoed Winter, which is a 2-player only De Beer games.
Tiny little box.
Small box.
We didn't pick one up there for some reason. I don't know what happened.
It sold out.
Oh,
so
that's
we played it.
Sold out.
I thought, wow, this is fun. And then we left and we're like, let's just come back. And when we came back, it was completely sold out.
Yeah.
It's basically a 2-player dueling snowflake game.
It's a tactical game. Yeah.
Trying to be the best snowflake in the sky, right?
Yeah, you represent different snowflakes, and essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to be the last one standing almost. Like it's a game where There's two halves to it. The first half, you're creating kind of this lattice of the snowflakes, and then the second half is when the melt happens, and you're basically trying to hang on for dear life because you can kind of manipulate the cards that you set up in the first half. So that was clever. I did not anticipate the melt happening as fast as it did, and so I was like, oh my God, I'm not anywhere near where I need to be. How do I save myself? I lost.
That was a learning game.
That was a learning game, yeah, but it was good. I liked it. Winter.
And we also played a full game of Chai Garam.
Oh, yeah.
And I really enjoyed playing that. I just have to say, we're both so happy to see this publisher at Essen SPIEL.
Yeah, it's one of the first Indian-based publishers to be at Essen SPIEL, and they were presenting their game Chai Garam, which is one that I had mentioned as kind of like a anticipated game on that last Essen preview kind of video that we did while we were abroad.
The publisher, by the way, is called Dice Toy Labs, and Chai Garam was not the only game that they had brought.
They brought three different games.
Three of them, yeah. But Chai Garam was the only one that we were able to play in full. And yeah, it was just so, they knocked it out of the park. Like, it was so great seeing them there, and it was very inspiring.
Yeah.
They're very, very nice people, and the game was great.
Yeah, essentially what you're doing in the game is you are trying to set up a tea shop in India, and what you have is different pots where you can boil and brew different types of tea. You can add different spices or additives to it to try to serve different customers that are kind of in this public display.
Yeah.
And you have these customers that are lined up in queues, and so you want to serve the customers that have been waiting there the longest or closest in line to you. And so there's some penalties if you serve people in the back of the line. And so you have to try to manage your pots. You have to gain income so you can buy more things so that you can do more order fulfillment. And yeah, there's a lot of management, and there's a lot of like, shoot, Monique has that type of tea leaf over there, and there's only one customer that can handle that. And well, I have that tea leaf too, so how the heck do I satisfy that customer before she does?
Right. I mean, it's definitely in the genre of games of order fulfillment, right? There are a lot of games out there that are like that, where you're trying to make something and then fulfill customers' orders. But the thing that I like specifically about this game, besides the fact that it's quite thinky, you know, that you can do upgrades and you're trying to be as efficient as possible, because it's a race. There are no points. You're just trying to have, I think,
trying to finish
a certain number of stars is what you're trying to acquire. And so it's the person who can do that the quickest is going to be the one who wins.
Right.
So
you never really feel like you're out of it, but I definitely felt like I was out of it. Monique killed it that whole week.
Other than that, there are a bunch of games that were really, really hot.
Oh, yeah.
That we did not get to play.
Yeah, some that were on our list, yeah.
Revive was super hot. Woodcraft was another one that was really popular. Of course, Lacrimosa.
That might have been the most popular one, I think.
Or Hamlet. Hamlet was also really popular. Towards the second half of the convention, we had a lot of meetings, but we also got to meet some designers. That was probably one of the most exciting parts of it for me.
Yeah, it always is.
Yeah, because that's kind of the thing that's really cool about Essen SPIEL that sets it apart from the other conventions. A lot of board game designers go because a lot of board game designers are European, and a lot of them are releasing a new game around that time.
Yeah.
So they'll go to help support their game.
Right.
So Vital Lacerda, of course, was a designer that we're both really, really looking forward to seeing again, because we've met him once in the past.
Once in the past, yeah.
And he was actually there teaching
Weather Machine.
Weather Machine.
Yeah, he was demoing it.
All day.
All the time, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Every time we went by the booth, there he was.
I can't imagine what that must feel like at the end of the day. You know, like we'll teach a Lacerda game once, and my brain is fried.
Like, I'm done.
And he's teaching it all day.
All day.
But
we also got to meet with David Turksey, who's a designer that Monique and I both really respect. We like a lot of his games, and so it was nice to finally meet him in person.
Yeah, he just had a baby.
Yeah,
so that's really nice. And we got to kind of pick his brain about Anachrony, because that is a game that we're going to be featuring in detail, probably in December. We met Uwe Rosenberg.
Yes,
we were both
quick.
Super nervous about it because we had to stand in line. It was actually a signing. It was a signing session, and we didn't have a copy of the game. Are you excited?
I am excited. You see the bats?
Oh my gosh. And so it was a really exciting moment. We waited in line, and then we took a picture with him and pretty much left. It was very fast. And we also got to meet Matthew Dunstan. And that was a really cool moment for us both, because we caught him like the last day before he was leaving. And we both really loved Elysium, which is one of the earlier games for us as well. And he's a co-designer on that title. Yeah. He's actually designed a ton of games. Yeah, and it happened, we actually happened to be releasing our video for Elysium the day after we met him, just randomly, just like that.
because Elysium was voted on by our Patreon community as the game that they wanted to have us play.
Yeah.
And so it just happened to be that he happened to be there, and we had a moment to kind of meet and talk with him.
Yeah. And otherwise, some other things we enjoyed were just visiting the random booths.
Yep.
We picked up some Italian coffee. There's a really, really nice Italian coffee booth that was in like Hall 5 or
Yeah,
something.
just like in the way back corner. They made a really, really good dirty hot chocolate.
Yeah, we may have gone there more than twice.
Yeah.
Of course, just seeing the big booth displays, because everything is just so much grander at Essen. Although I think that it was still slightly toned down from previous years.
Just slightly. I think by next year it'll be full-fledged back to
I know
it was.
in the past, like Z-Man or Asmodee will have these like
Massive ones.
huge booths. Like you'd think it's like a sports convention or something. And they didn't do that this year, but they still had some good displays.
It's getting close. I think Hachette probably had the biggest kind of display.
Hachette really knocked it out of the park in terms of their presentation of their booths.
I need to work out when I get home.
What?
I'm out of shape. This guy's in shape.
And then, of course, probably the thing that I enjoyed the most, the thing that I was most excited about, was we had a mini meetup.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, the Saturday of the convention. We were out late on Friday, so we actually didn't go into the convention in the morning.
Right.
We went straight to this meetup, which was actually held at the convention center, but outside of it also. It was like upstairs.
In the halls, or not in the halls.
Not in the halls.
It's in the facilities, the overall facilities, but it's not in the main center.
Yeah, and I think it was called like the press and meet and play room or something. It was from like 2 to 6, and there were a lot of different content creators who participated. You just kind of show up and then hang out and play games.
Right.
We didn't really announce it on the channel just because we didn't know what time we would be there. And we didn't actually post that either on the website. So we primarily had our Patreon come meet us at a certain time, and we didn't even tell them until like the night before or 2 nights before.
Yeah, it might have been even like the morning of,
what time we were going to be there.
Yeah.
So we didn't know how many people would show up, and there was a nice group of people
good amount of
who
people.
came, and we played a couple of games. We stayed for about an hour and a half, and it was a really good time.
Yeah.
You never know what it's going to be like when you go to a different country and you meet people who watch the channel from other countries, but it was wonderful.
It's really nice.
It was
People
really
came
nice.
from all over the world technically.
Yeah.
So we got to play a couple small little card games. What did you play? You played
I played a Fruit Market, which was a game that
vegetable stock.
vegetable stock.
Not Fruit Market, Vegetable Stock is the name of the game.
I keep calling
Which
it
is a
that.
game we actually picked up at Essen from Tokyo. No,
Taiwan game
board
design.
game.
Board game design.
TBD.
TBD. And we had to split into 2 groups, and both groups got to play that.
Right.
But we also played this like drawing game, a really interesting, unique spin on a drawing game that Emma, one a member from our Patreon community, brought and taught. And it was really interesting because you have these like two overlays, and you're trying to draw a picture.
Okay.
And the thing is, part of the picture is on one overlay, another one's on the second layer, and the other part of the picture is on the third layer.
Okay.
And you scramble them up with everybody's overlays, and you're trying to figure out the picture that they drew by putting them together. Naveen didn't get to play it.
I didn't play it, no.
But we played
it sounded
full
like you guys
game
were
of
having a
it.
good time.
Thank you, Emma, for teaching that. Emma, by the way, is the person who gave me all the hot tips for Arc Nova.
Yeah.
Really strong gamer, so.
You used them against me.
I did. Thank you, Emma.
I didn't see those tips.
So again, thank you to everybody who showed up, and we deeply apologize to those who showed up afterwards because we were told that some people showed up after we left.
Right,
and
right.
We hadn't posted what times we would be there.
Yeah, because the thing was from 2 to 6, but that's like right in the center of the con time. So
Yeah.
we knew we wanted to come in, but we also wanted to enjoy the con as well at the same time.
And that's pretty much the extent of what I can remember. Do you know anything else?
Well, we brought some games.
Yes, we did. We
some
were
games.
very limited on luggage space. So we basically just took home a bunch of trick-taking games.
Small games. Speaking of luggage space, we brought a bag along with us that we picked up over at Gen Con. This is from a company called BCW. It looks kind of big on camera, but this is our primary carry-on bag that we now bring with us to conventions. Because you can kind of fold it up, toss it into a check-in bag, which is exactly what we did. And then whenever we're ready to bring something or some games back, then we just toss it in this.
Yeah, and the thing that's really neat about this bag in particular is the way that it opens is actually this way. You can unzip all the way towards the back. So if you ever kind of want to just see the games at a glance, you can do this.
Yeah, pretty cool.
This, I've never seen a bag do this before.
Yeah.
So it's really, really handy for board games. Now, for some of the games that we brought home that we clearly haven't played yet, we have Astra, which is the new Mind Clash game, actually. I think it's the new Mind Clash Play. Is a new part of their publishing company that is specifically for more
Accessible games?
Accessible game,
Yeah.
like family weight. And so this is the first game in the series or in the line. I'm really excited to play it. This has a cool theme,
Yeah.
Constellations. That's a theme that I really enjoy.
There you go.
So
Astra.
Astra.
Yep.
We brought home this game,
Oh, yeah.
which is from Helvetique. It's a
K3?
It's called K3. We actually played this there and then brought home a copy. It's a bunch of cubes, and you're building a mountain, and you actually start with your own mountains.
There's cubes of different colors, and you're trying to basically you're trying to be the last one standing, right? In this game,
Yeah,
right?
maybe I didn't explain that quite right.
You're trying not to bust, but basically there's like a programming aspect of the game where you're trying to pluck cubes off so you can try to build out. Sorry, not pluck cubes off. You're trying to build up this ladder, but it's so hard to explain without it in front of you.
We are
Sorry.
cooperatively building a mountain in like a pyramid formation using these blocks, and the blocks are different colors. But before you play the game, you have this like drafting part of the game where you're taking all the blocks that you're going to be using for the entire game,
Right.
and you have to kind of set them up because it determines the order that you have to play your blocks in. And whenever you build the mountain, you have to play a colored block that matches one of the colors.
One of the ones below.
Below it.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And so if at any time you cannot place a block, I believe, then you lose.
Yes.
So it's really interesting, very unique. So this is one of the games that we brought.
You did mention it's cooperative. You are
No, we're-
building the same thing together, but you're not working together. You're
Yes.
trying to screw your other player over.
There's one winner.
Yes, there's only one winner. Yeah.
We got a couple of Oink games. So these were two of the new ones, I believe, that they released. This is Town 66
yep.
and Order Overload Cafe. We have not played this one yet, but we did play Town 66 with Suniva, actually, from Board Gaming Ramblings.
Yep.
Fantastic YouTube channel. They're another YouTube board gaming couple, so please check them out. Suniva was able to attend the convention for a couple of days,
yeah.
so we were very fortunate to be able to spend one of the nights playing games with her, and this was one of them. This is a town building game. You're kind of building just like a 5x5?
I think a 5x5, yeah.
Of tiles,
Yeah.
and it's really interesting because there are rules to how you could place the tiles. Like you cannot have the same shape or color in the same row or column.
Right. That's exactly that's the rules.
That's
right
the
there,
rules.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And at some point, you won't be able to place. And so it's basically whoever was
Last person standing.
last person standing. Yeah.
It was clever. I liked it.
Yeah, and you can play it solo. So, Town 66. And a majority of the games, like we're mentioning, are just trick-taking games that
Small
we
box
haven't
games.
played yet.
Yep.
So we have Tatsu
Tatsu.
and St. Patrick, both of which are Madigo trick-taking games. This one was highly recommended. This one we demoed.
This
while
one
we
we
were there.
demoed. We didn't get to play a full game of it, but it seems interesting.
Yeah.
It seems like basic trick taking, but there's like a little
A twist.
yeah, in
Yeah.
it. So which is
So,
always good in trick taking games.
Really looking forward to
By
playing
the way,
them both.
this game right here, St. Patrick, when you see it on the Essen preview list, I thought this was going to be this like massive like Euro game.
Yeah.
And then we walked up, we're like, hey, that's St.
St.
Patrick.
Patrick.
It's this little tiny little
tiny.
card game.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I guess why did we think that, right? If it's a trick-taking game.
Well, I didn't know much about it.
Yeah,
I
massive.
just kind of saw this and I think I just kind of maybe scrolled by on the preview list. I'm not
Yeah.
exactly sure what happened there.
We also picked up Sea Salt and Paper and Awimaway.
Also a
And
small
so,
box.
Yeah, there's both small box. Awimaway is 2-player only, I believe, trick-taking. Still haven't played it. And Sea Salt and Paper came highly recommended. So I'm very curious to see how this plays.
Yep. We also were able to pick up 3D upgraded components to the game Rush MD.
Yeah,
So,
look at these.
Yeah, we haven't opened it yet. So, but there was a couple things that I think could have been upgraded. So it's nice to see that these component upgrades are there because most of the things are in the base game just kind of cardboard. So these
Yeah.
are 3D printed. Looks like nice chunky plastic components.
If you are a fan of Rush MD, like we are, you'll probably know that like the CT scanner that comes in the expansion isn't the best material. It's
Yeah.
all cardboard. It falls apart. So all these 3D printed components basically fix that. So thought that was cool.
Something cool. Yep. And lastly, we were able to pick up the Friedman Fries game Facenery.
Facenery. Yes, I think it's Facenery, right?
Facenery, yes.
Yes, the
This
bird
one,
game.
the bird game with
Fancy
the
feathers.
out of focus bird on there, the clip art.
It's the one that we talked about quite
Yeah.
a lot. And we got to play it because Suniva picked up a copy, and the night that we played games with her, she learned it, and we played it.
Yeah.
And it was actually quite good
Yeah.
for a game of this size and price point. I liked it.
Yeah, so in one box you can play up to 2 players,
Mm-hmm.
but you can play a 4-player game if you bring together 2 boxes. So we were able to play a 3-player game because we we had a copy, she had a copy.
Yeah, and in this game, the main mechanic is set collection. You know, there are several types of sets of birds or bird-adjacent things, like bird farts, I think is one of them. And the way that it works is you have cards in a line, and it's kind of like Takedo style, where if you are the person who is furthest behind, it's your turn next, and you can move your token as far across this line of cards as you want to.
Wish, yeah.
But whenever you move, you have to take the card that you're on, and everything that was everything that's between you and the next player.
Okay,
right?
that's right. Yes,
I think that's what it is.
Something like that. Yeah.
So because of that mechanic, you're possibly taking cards that are bad. You're taking cards that are not ideal because of the set collection aspect. Because...
Or you're seeing that, like, Monique is like collecting this. I cannot allow her to get this card because it's just going to be the best case scenario for her. So I guess I'll have to do something less optimal, take this out of circulation, so that when it comes to your turn, you don't have access to it.
Right, and there are some suits that reward you for having like 3 and not 5 of the suit, right? So now, I'm forced to take the 4th, so it's less points.
Right.
So that's the thinking in this game, and that's what a majority of the gameplay is going to be like. But for a €10 card game, I thought that it had a lot of good game in it.
Pretty good.
And that's it. A majority of the other games that we had on our list, we did not get to play or buy. Because the thing about Essen is a lot of times there is no demo. So a majority of the really popular games, especially the larger publishers, will have demos of all of the games on their list.
Right.
But some smaller publishers, they won't. You pretty much go there just to buy the game. So titles like Resist or 1998 ISS, which is one that Naveen really wanted.
It was sold out. Pretty early.
They both sold out on us. Discordia also, we didn't get to play. Flow War had a very small booth, and we didn't get to try it.
Revive as well.
Or Woodcraft. Any of those games we didn't get to play. So that's pretty much it. Again, thank you so much to everybody who came and said hi. It was a really, really humbling experience to be able to meet everybody in a different country from all over the world.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So that was definitely the best part, meeting people and just enjoying board games together, right? So if you attended Essen SPIEL, we'd love to hear how your experience went. What games did you get to play? What games did you pick up that you have since played? And which games did you love, right? So let us know in the comments down below. Otherwise, coming up on our channel, we are still doing the Super Rosenberg series that we are intent on finishing
soon.
By the new year-ish.
Ideally, Fields of Oral is the next one. Monique and I have no experience with it.
Yes,
so
we are preparing it this week.
We have to get prepared.
Hopefully, next week we can have a video for it. I'm still playing solo games. I'm currently trying to get through an ISS Vanguard campaign by myself, which is pretty difficult to do because it's very time-consuming to play games like that. But I also have a few other solo games that I'm going to be featuring soon. Our Patreon community also voted on the next playthrough and review game that we're going to be featuring, and it's a good one. It's a really exciting one, so stay tuned for that. And otherwise, if you'll be at PAX, I'll see you there.
Once again, thank you to the Meets also for sponsoring this video. We really appreciate it. There's links to everything we kind of talked about down in the description below, so you can always peruse those at your leisure. And again, if you have any Q&A questions for us, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we'll try to answer them in our next Q&A video when that is set to release. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.